walking through the day, like this last year,
Mm-hmm.
I found it challenging, and also I'm just observing like my mind of how much I'm not trusting others.
Mm-hmm.
Even in my mind, even being unkind, and not knowing the other person or their story or anything, just a general distrust.
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced that deeply this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in between here, Lisa and I we were talking about the rest of the text, and the way Lisa's practicing is she's coming in to the sessions here that we're having, and then taking it in through her heart and through her ears, and then going home and studying the lesson, reading it, and then kind of going through it again in the evening. And then she also said that she's going back through the beginning of the text and starting to read some of that. And then so I said, well, a really nice way to do the text, because there's so much here. Can be a daunting book, but you got to remember the whole thing, the words, the book, the whole thing is a symbol of love. The whole thing is just this gift that has come from outside of time and space to help us remember the truth of who we are outside of time and space. And so you can close your eyes, and maybe you have a certain question or a certain troublesome idea or whatever. You can really use the book like an oracle. You close your eyes, and we just did this. Open the book and randomly open the book, and then pick, okay, which side of the page is it going to be on, and then open your eyes and see what your eyes land on. And I was just doing this as we were talking about it, and so I'll share what my eyes landed on. It says, the Holy Spirit is perfectly trustworthy as you are. God Himself trusts you, and therefore your trustworthiness is beyond question. That's the truth. So if God trusts me, Holy Spirit, which is the memory of God, the memory of heaven, which we took with us into the dream, that memory is there waiting to lead us home. It's like a child's hand just reaching out. Follow me home. Follow this perfect innocence home with me. So if God trusts me absolutely, then my trustworthiness and your trustworthiness must be so. It will always remain beyond question, however much you may question it. I said before that you are the will of God. And we could just go on, but then that is what inspired Lisa to share this idea that she hasn't been trusting others. And while we can really never trust the ego, if we live in a fearful state and never trust the ego, and that becomes the mantra, then we basically end up imprisoning ourselves and we get nowhere. But it's our practice to see past the ego and let spirit guide us in that. And so when we look past the ego and let spirit come through and guide us, then there's no fear and we'll be guided. Do I follow through with this person? Maybe not. Maybe I'm guided in a way that helps me out of an unhelpful relationship. Knowing that we can always look back on that relationship, and because of the guidance and what came from it, there are no relationships that are not helpful. Okay. Lesson number 6. Here's the call and response. I am upset because I see something that is not there. Aha. I am upset because I see something that is not there. This is a nod to the illusory nature of the dream we call life. Just sit against the wall, have the soles of your feet together, the knees wide, rest your hands on your legs. You close your eyes, slowly curve forward. This is a lesson that can cause quite easily a little reaction. Wait a minute. I'm upset because I see something that is not there. I guess that might mean that I'm hallucinating. Well, maybe on some level, we are all hallucinating to some degree. Might say we have a perception problem. We all, to some degree, have a perception problem. And to gently acknowledge that, that's a bit of what this lesson is asking us to do. If I'm upset because I see something that is not there, then I must have a perception problem. And the whole book, all these lessons are designed to get us to change our perception. We change our perception from the teacher of the ego to the teacher of love, of the Holy Spirit. Raise yourself up slowly, comfortably seated, maybe against the wall. Rest against the wall. Keep your eyes closed a minute. Make sure the sensation and the shape is not too strong to be able to fully relax here. From that relaxed place, just softly, slowly open your eyes. Just let the light come in. Let the forms come in. Gentle, gentle, gentle in your heart. And repeat the lesson to yourself. I am upset because I see something that is not there. It's kind of funny. Maybe you can even see a little humor in this. The ego is just this giant trick. It's the greatest puzzle we have to solve here. It's undoing the trick. It's like pulling the curtain away from the wizard behind the curtain and saying, oh, it's a trick. All right. Now, going to come out of the shape, lie on your back, have your bolster off to one side, your knees bent, your feet on the floor. There you go. Okay. Bolster off to one side, knees bent, feet on the floor. Now, lift your hips up and slide the bolster crosswise under your pelvis. So the pelvis is supported, but the belly and especially the low back are not. And so we're wanting to induce a little flexion, a little movement in the low back. The shape itself induces that. Close your eyes and feel this shape working for you. The shapes work for us the same way Holy Spirit is always working for us. It's the truth, it's the love, it's the light working for us, seemingly what's in the background. And what we're doing on this journey together here through the workbook lessons we're removing the obstacles to that love and that light and that helpfulness. Now, as we did in the last lesson, you're going to bring the left knee towards your left shoulder. Interlock your fingers, this time over the knee. If the knee is reachable here, if it takes too much strain or it's too much of a reach, then come underneath the calf on the back of the thigh. Now you have this big lever here. Close your eyes, soften your shoulders, meet the resistance. Don't try to advance the shape. That's fruitless. Let the yoga come to you. Again, now, if there's any strain, release and put your hands behind the thigh. We're going to go, as we go through this practice, we're going to use a combination of both. They are two different shapes. Lower your foot to the floor. Yeah, nice. Always at the pace that respects the sensation. Bring the right knee toward the right shoulder. Yeah. Right knee, right shoulder, interlock over the knee if it's within reach. Sometimes one hip is a little crankier or a little more free than the other. Eyes closed, easy through the neck and shoulders. Soften into the sensation, healing, helpful sensation. And in keeping with the metaphor I was talking about earlier, how the Holy Spirit is always on. Love is always maximized. It's a matter of removing the barriers to it. So it's like a light bulb. The on switch is always on. The light bulb is always lit, but it's covered with dust and a little bit of mud and debris. So no matter how hard you try to turn on the switch, that bulb is not going to get any brighter. The light's not going to come through anymore until we start to clean the surface. And as we clean, as we polish, we're really polishing our own minds. We get glimmers, and the love and the light just starts to peek through, and then it comes through more and more and more and more. Love begets love. Light begets light. We never stop cleaning the lens. Lower your foot to the floor. Okay, back to the left knee, this time toward the center chest, and we'll interlock the fingers behind the thigh. Fingers close to the crease in the back of the knee, and we aim for the middle of your chest, moving in on the blockage a little bit in the groin, the medial part of the hip. Meet it kindly, meet it peacefully, meet it sustainably. Okay. We take the metaphor one step further. I like to think that there's a healthy, happy hip inside. It just needs to be cleaned up. So the sensation that you're targeting sometimes feels like arthritis, sometimes it is arthritic. Maybe there's degeneration going on inside the hip. The synovial fluid that encompasses the inside of the hip needs to be cleansed. It takes movement and pressure to push that toxic fluid out through the synovial membrane lining into the extracellular matrix where it's cleaned up, and then the body picks up on that void and produces fresh, clean synovial fluid. It's part of the physiology that we work with in this practice. Lower your foot to the floor slowly. Yes. Bring the right knee toward the center chest, fingers behind. Sink into the shape. Work with these helpful pressures. We trust this gentle undoing. Careful never to make it too much about the body. All right, now lower your foot to the floor. Now lift your hips up and slide the bolster down underneath your knees. Yeah, so the knees and really the lower part of the thigh is supported. The heels can rest on the floor. Then bring your arms out to a T shape, palms up toward the ceiling. Resting heavy here. Slowly turn your head to the right. Let your mind blend with your whole body. Feel the weight of your body and how the bolster supports you, the way your heels touch the floor. Feel all that as you explore this turn of the neck and the head. Feel any little bit of inner resistance and then rest heavy. I'm going to read just a little bit from lesson number 6. I am upset because I see something that is not there. I'm upset because I'm being deceived. And we don't want to be deceived anymore. We don't want to get stuck or caught up in the ego's games into thinking that there's a right or a wrong here. Those are my words. In paragraph 2, it says, today's idea is useful for application to anything that seems to upset you and can profitably be used throughout the day for that purpose. Profitably be used. A word that we usually give to monetary characteristics. profit in a monetary way, but here I love that it's being used in a spiritual way, that our greatest profit is joining with the love and light that is not just who, but what we are. Slowly turn your head through the center to the left. Increase the turn a little bit. We do a fair amount of neck work in this practice. Always be slow and thoughtful and gentle. No need to overdo. Just feel and then rest. And then I'll read the final words of the lesson here. It's really a reminder that there are no small upsets. They are all equally disturbing to my peace of mind. Number one, and number two, I cannot keep this form of upset and let the others go. For the purposes of these exercises, then, I will regard them all as the same. Bring your head back to the center. And bring your arms to your sides and bend your knees and push the bolster away with your feet. And as you do so, you just stretch your legs, stretch your arms. Good. And then roll over onto one side when you're ready. Push yourself up. Sitting comfortably, close your eyes, bring your hands to your heart. Good. Namaste. Yeah. Remember, any upset, anything that seems to take our peace away, it's because I see something that's not there. All right.